Good morning. Welcome back. Day 2 of HTC25. Good to see you all here. The first session of this morning is about campus impacts, especially from OSDF and OSPool contributors. And we will get started right away with Kevin Thompson from the NSF. And he's still muted.
We try that again.
Looks good. Oh, do you have?
How's that?
Yeah, okay.
Does that work, Tim? Can you hear me?
Sorry, yes. You're all set, Kevin. Sorry.
Okay, good. All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to share just, a little bit of information for the few of you who may not have heard of CC Star. I'm sure there are some in the auditorium. I'll show you some numbers that they provide on their website, the PATH project. I like going there frequently, as I think the group knows, and I'll finish with just a few thoughts, given that it's a big anniversary out there. So CC Star does stand for Campus Cyberinfrastructure. This is a program that got started in 2012, mainly as a networking connectivity program for campuses. And it grew to encompass compute and storage and strategy, as you'll see in a moment. It's always been about campus level investments in cyber infrastructure, or CI, and science impact has always been really at the center of it. And in recent years, it has increasingly focused more on emphasizing the needs for smaller, under-resourced institutions. And this program is now led by my colleague, Amy Apon, who's done a wonderful job, I think, at taking it, improving it. Certainly the solicitation, the last one, 24/5/30, I think is a significant improvement organizationally and in simple clarity and readability. There are a ton of ways to come at this program when there is an open solicitation in its current form. I think I count maybe 10 different ways just here on the slide. So Area 1 and Area 3 do target campus networking. Area 1 is really about pure campus network upgrades. We're starting to see the emergence of now 400 gig campus level needs. Area 3, I'll just skip to that in a moment, has always been more about more of the applied networking R&D applied to campus networking, more of an experimental piece. And it's run by a different part of SAIS called CNS. But some great things have come out of that. A lot of SDN work, initial SDN deployment on campuses were supported out of that area in the 2010s. Area 2 is all about computing. Area 4 got added after that, addressing storage systems. Like these other areas, there is, like Area 1 and 2, Area 4 now has both the campus and the regional types of approaches. A campus level proposal addresses campus-wide needs for a specific campus. The regional concept we opened up many years back on networking, and we've extended that to computing and storage. This is a great way for institutions to fully participate while not leading the actual proposal. And so those regional proposals are very important. There's more money in them. They're also harder to write. They address the needs of multiple smaller, under-resourced institutions. A couple notes here. Maybe my wording that I changed on this, I shouldn't have called 24/5/30 the last solicitation. We're certainly hoping it's not the last. But what I would say is we do not, as of today, have a timeline on when exactly the next solicitation will be seen. That might be a question for some of you in the audience. Um, the other one I'll note is, the last solicitation due date was back in October. We are still processing and considering some number of those proposals. And if you're in that set, we thank you for your continued patience and your understanding. And I decided to grab a couple of Amy's slides just to show you how we portray in just a couple of slides. Sometimes we only have a slide or two in a larger presentation, and this is a core slide. And I like this one because it is a reminder of what I forgot to mention on the last slide, but which you might have seen in the text, which is part and parcel with computing and storage. There are sharing requirements, and the solicitation actually points to OSPool and OSDF. And we make this pretty clear in presentations that we give and when we talk about the different areas. I'll just mention on this one slide, yeah, it's a little outdated slide of deployment we have on the lower right. Forgive us on that. But the one on the upper right is also, I think, a reminder for how well I view the program still as a core networking program in combination with these other areas. I think it's a reminder also here of just how important the regional networks are. They've always played a big role in this program. And you can map the internet to backbone on top of that, and you get a pretty good idea of just how rich our R&E network fabric is in the US. So I saw that Stephen Wheat's talking a little later this morning. He will be a great example of what Amy put together on this slide to just show in one state how multiple institutions have taken advantage of this program. Amy counted, if you include the sub-awards, something close to 40 different awards, sub-awards, just to institutions in the state of Oklahoma. I think the number of actual awards is in the 20s. But it's just amazing how this program has gone a long way towards, over the last 13, 14 years, helping to improve not just networking, but I think, as Stephen Wheat will show you with Oral Roberts, has had impact at the campus level across some of these areas, including computing. So I took Amy's latest spreadsheet and did some manual counting a couple days ago. Came up with some interesting numbers here just in the last 4 or 5 years of awards. And out of the 260 some odd awards, I counted over 60 in computing, both campus and regional. I think most of those who joined OSPool. I counted a little over 20 in campus storage, and that's still that's the newest area. And it wasn't until this last solicitation that Amy added in a regional storage element. I think most of those are going to be in the process of joining OSDF. Little known fact, we funded Path and Pelican out of this program element. We don't talk about it a whole lot, but that's how internally and organizationally, I think how closely aligned Path and Pelican are to this program. Let's see, I'm conscious of time here. I'll go through these next slides pretty quickly. For those of you who have not hit the web pages for Path, for OSG, there's a lot of cool info on there. I showed some of these last year, and I decided to show some more this year. And this might be the one URL I'm showing for the next several slides. That's okay. You can go around and look at it. This is kind of fun. You go and get on this page, and you can see yesterday's kind of summary across OSPool for jobs completed, researchers served, core hours, file transfers. I like the contributing institutions page. I'm showing here kind of the top 10. This is a large scrolling list. I mean, if you go down there, there are 79 rows if you looked at it this morning, I think. These top 10, I'm not sure they they get displaced too much. I think you've got a talk from Syracuse coming up. Syracuse just has amazing production numbers in terms of what they contribute to OSPool. I am personally used to seeing them at the top or right near the top of this list. I note there, I decided to keep around the summary stats from my talk to this group last year. The number that jumps out to me isn't necessarily the number of jobs run, and that's how this is ordered. And that's a big disparity, and maybe it was counted differently a year ago. I don't know. But I'm most impressed with the number of contributing institutions, which went up by 12 over the last year, if my count is correct. Here's another page that Path shows, the group there shows. You heard from Eric yesterday on that awesome keynote talk. He comes in at number 3 here, I think, if you're ordering by jobs over the last year. I just think it's interesting that both number 1 and 3 are out of bio. I looked up this FIU project, and in fact, you can click on there and you get this blow up. This is also in the realm of genomics. I think this project is specific to malaria research. It's kind of interesting. I also scrolled down on the institutions contributing. Those aren't the top institutions that you see listed there in kind of the middle left, but I took the screenshot of scrolling down just to kind of give a sense of the diversity of institutions contributing cycles to this project. So you can go in, you can do these blow-ups. I do that from time to time. OSDF has made a ton of progress. I think there's a talk, if not later today, tomorrow, on OSDF monitoring. Might get into this more. If you go there today, you'll actually see an entire list of the repositories made available via OSDF today, along with some further instrumentation. Let me just close on this. I wanted to not spend too much time talking this morning and let the others have at it, but this is clearly a really important day, and I think the big celebration day for the project there. I wish I was there. But it did motivate me to write down a few thoughts on thinking about this project over the years. Firstly, I just want to do a shout out to the facilitation activities. I'm happy Christina was one of the first talkers yesterday. I was happy to hear that Lauren is there. And I think, it's interesting. I think about things differently maybe over time. I think the longer time goes on, the more I realize just how impactful the innovative facilitation activities in Madison have been. I think that impact is seen in a lot of different ways. I think it can be seen in what we ended up putting in place that's no longer there in recent solicitations for funding cyber teams and CI teams. I think the facilitation group's influence can be seen in the Skype program, which was kind of a breakout of that funding element in OAC in the last few years. So I wish we could replicate you and make that appear across 100 or 1,000 institutions. Maybe that would go a long way towards achieving one of Frank's visionary goals of having 1,000 colleges with resources integrated. But well done on the facilitation activities, and I hope that continues. I think a lot about the aggregate impact of this project on science over the decades. I get a monthly reminder of it, as does Amy and Marlon. We sit in on the monthly meetings with Marone and Janet and Brian. It's just staggering. It's hard for me to actually get my mental arms around it. I don't think I may ever have my arms around it. I think if somebody were to go back and look at all the talks on science just in this event over the last 10 years, I don't know that would kind of be the overall capture of it. You'll hear from some projects this week, as you always do. I think that's a great flavor of it. But it's simply amazing how much impact across science this project has had. I think about the resource sharing at the institution level, enabling broader participation. I mean, if you go back to that list of contributing institutions, you'll find some institutions that you would not expect to be contributing resources, but they are full participants. That would not happen without this project. I think this project is a perfect example of the power of resource sharing across institutions nationally. I think it's just part and parcel of that. And speaking personally, I think that's a major underpinning of scientific discovery this century. I think we're on the right track there. Distributed HTC as a scalable production level capability and alternative. We at NSF, we certainly continue to invest heavily in different forms of scientific computing, and that's expected to continue, and that's important. It's a must-have. I think this project represents another important layer of scientific computing capability. There are few examples of non-domain specific research infrastructure supported by NSF, where we talk about it in terms of number of decades. Speaking for myself, I can maybe only include a couple of networking initiatives, but for, I think, OAC, for NSF and research infrastructure serving all of science, this is in a very tiny group. And that's an amazing thing. It's amazing to get one NSF award, to see NSF funding across decades in various ways. That in itself is just an enormous accomplishment. I think finally, this is a really special group. I think about a lot of you individually, thought about you this week. For me, it's a reminder that these success stories, they always come down to the people, your commitment, your passion for making a difference. I wish I was with you later today. You've got some great talks as part of that celebration this afternoon. Congrats on 40 years of HT Condor and 20 years of OSG, and I'll just end it there.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. And we do have time for a few questions. We have Joe, you have a question or a Zoom question?
We have an online question from Matthew West. Given the 65% cut to the CISE budget in the 2026 request, will we see CC Star program continuing into the next fiscal year?
Good question. Tried to answer that earlier. We do not currently have a timeline for when the next CC Star solicitation is coming out. That's about all I can say about it right now, and I'm sorry.
Kevin, first of all, thank you for your kind words about what we have been doing here, as you like to call it, in this zip code. And I want to use the opportunity to reiterate how NSF over the 4 decades provided the support to get this community to where it is today. That what started in the very early days of the Condor project with NSF funding to the computer science department and the vision of NSF at the time to support the young computer science department with departmental funding, that was a key factor for the beginning, or if you want to say the hatching of Condor out of the egg in 40 years ago. And then going through the PACI program, that was really the way we were able to hire Todd to join us. and the beginning of playing a role at the national level, which was, again, a significant NSF investment. And then the Griffin and the IVDGL and the direct funding to OSG, and it goes on and on until we have PATH and Pelican today. So sometimes it's easier to see the impact of NSF funding on something like LIGO, that, you know, we accomplished something that Einstein predicted 100 years ago. But I feel that what we have here today is a demonstration of the NSF sustained support of what you pointed out to be a capability which is not domain specific. So that is something that I think we should all recognize. And since you're not here physically, I wanted to use this as an opportunity.
With you in spirit.
Okay, let's thank Kevin again.